Hi, it's Wednesday, and that means it's time for another video edition of Widower Wednesday. I'm Abel Keogh, author of the book Dating a Widower, and today we are going to discuss widowers and their relationship with the late wife's family or the former in laws, basically the late wife's parents and siblings and things like that. I'm doing this because I've got a couple emails here that I'm going to share that kind of encapsulate the issues that I see with widowers and the relationship with the late wife's family or their former in-laws once they get into a relationship with another woman as in a serious relationship. And the two emails go like this, and I am sharing the emails with permission. But the first one says, "What do you do, or what should I do when the widower is extremely close to his former in-laws?" And the other one says, "Why does the widower maintain a relationship with his previous in-laws even when they hurt me?" So two issues here: what to do if the widower is close to the in-laws, and what to do if the in-laws are, I guess, treating her badly. We don't have a lot of specifics, but that's okay. So the first thing I do want to get out of the way is that there's nothing wrong with the widower having a relationship with his late wife's family. Oftentimes, widowers maybe even have a better relationship with the late wife's family than they do their own family. So having that relationship isn't the issue. But when it comes to being extremely close to the late wife's family, that's where problems come in, because generally that means the widower is prioritizing the late wife's family over his new love, right? Or the new person he's in a serious relationship with. So, for example, something I often see in coaching sessions and in emails is that maybe, that they have this, they have a tradition of maybe going on vacation for 2 weeks or something every year, and the widower always goes. And so now it's like, it's the summer, it's vacation time, and he makes plan to go with them. And he's like, well, you can come, and like, I don't want to spend, I don't mind spending time with their family, but I don't want to spend 2 weeks with them. Can we have some of our own time? Or maybe it comes down to a choice again between, the holidays come up, and it's, I'm used to going over to the late wife's family and we spend Christmas together, and there's no plans or anything like to be made with the new love's family, or just spending time with his new love. And it's like, well, why can't we make some changes here? And he doesn't want to hurt their feelings and things like that. So that's how I'm kind of interpreting extremely close. So again, nothing wrong with having a relationship with the late wife's family, but the widower needs to redefine that relationship with them, and that's how you overcome this issue. It's nothing that the woman dating the widower can do. It's up to the widower to sit down with his late wife's family and basically have a conversation with them and say, there's a new woman in my life. Hopefully, you've introduced them to each other, so they know who you're talking about. But you basically have a conversation with them where you just say, you've been great in-laws, especially if you have kids. I'm not cutting you out of my life. Again, you can word it better than this, but essentially the conversation is just letting them know that, this new person is in my life, and I'm still going to spend time with you and hang around with you guys, but it's just going to be different. And whether that means, holidays or other things like that, we just can't expect the same things to go forward. And again, what that looks like is different for every couple. I know a lot of you are thinking, well, what about this? What about that? If you have specific questions about redefining the relationship with the in-laws, you can schedule a coaching session, and we can go over that in a detail. But the point is if you want this relationship to work and you're serious about a new relationship, you need to make the new person in your life number one. And that means you just need to redefine other relationships. It doesn't mean necessarily cutting people out of your life unless they're have toxic personalities and are intent on destroying your relationship, but it does mean that, you need to redefine them. For example, when I was dating Julie, I kind of had to redefine the relationship with my late wife's family, with my late wife's grandmother and a brother. I told them I was dating again, and as a result, I spent less time with them. And it wasn't that I cut them out of my life completely, but, I had to prioritize Julie. And, it was a hard conversation to have. It was a difficult one to have, but I needed to do it in order so they knew what the expectation was going forward. The worst is when and yes, was I worried about their feelings? Of course I was worried about their feelings. These people have been part of my life for many years, and I love these people. But again, there's no perfect solution out there where it's like you can make everyone happy. You can't make everybody happy. That's impossible. You need to look at your life and decide what chapter 2 looks like, and how are you going to redefine relationships with this? And if you're dating a widower, I'll say you have to be okay with the fact that they have a relationship with the late wife's family. And again, I'm assuming, I haven't got into the whole hurt thing yet. I'm not talking about that, but I'm assuming that he has a good relationship with the late wife's family, and, they haven't done anything egregious to offend you or to hurt you, then you've got to accept the fact that he needs, he has a relationship with them, especially if he has kids, and I'm talking younger kids here. You don't want to cut them off from grandma and grandpa. So it does mean you may have to spend some time with them. Maybe it's not the most comfortable thing because it's the late wife's family, but it's part of dating a widower is there's dynamics that you don't have to deal with in other relationships. So, how much time and things like that, I'm not going to necessarily prescribe that unless you want to schedule a coaching session, but it is that you've got to accept the fact that, if I'm with this guy, that does mean maybe, on whatever, once a month, we're going over and having dinner with the late wife's family or whatever the issue is. So I think it's fair to expect him to have a relationship, but at the same time, he needs to redefine that, and you need to be okay to a small degree spending time with these people. And again, I know it's not always the easiest thing to do, but again, unless there's some really bad behavior going on there, I don't think it's fair just to expect him to cut the late wife's family out of their life. So in answer to your question is what to do when the widower is extremely close to the former in-laws. Again, he needs to, it's not for you to do, it's for the widower to do. He needs to redefine that relationship with them. He needs to look at it, what's been expected of him and what's a healthy way to go ahead and redefine this relationship. Again, he can still have one with them, but it may again mean spending less time with them. I don't know. Talking with them less, I don't know exactly what that means. Every situation is different, but generally it means spending less time with them and focusing more on you. If he's putting the feelings of the late wife's family above yours, that's where a red flag comes in, right? If you're in a relationship, that person needs to be number one. And yes, someone in the late wife's family may be offended that you're not coming over for a holiday dinner, or that, maybe you're not spending time with vacation with them or other things. But you can't control how other people are going to react. All you can do is politely and calmly just explain why things are changing. Okay. Now, for the other issue, though, where it says, why is my widower maintain a relationship with his previous in-laws even when they hurt me? That's pretty vague. I don't know what it means by hurt me, and I don't know why it means by maintain a relationship. But there is a red line that you do have to draw if people in the late wife's family are being intentionally hurtful toward your new love, or they're trying to sabotage the relationship or something like that. It doesn't mean they have to necessarily 100% support the relationship and rah, but if you are spending time with them and they're cold, standoffish, rude, whatever, someone's, I don't know, making up stuff, making up lies or whatever, then that's a red line that has to be drawn. It's one thing if you go over there and you're just uncomfortable because it's the late wife's family, that's one thing, but it's something else if, again, I'm not talking about just necessarily one person, but I'm talking about you go over there and they're rude, they're cold. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I get into coaching sessions. I'm like, yeah, I've heard it all. Then I haven't heard it all. There's some really bad behavior out there. So obviously you don't want to put yourself in a position where someone is rude or someone is hurting you. And again, I don't know what hurt means here, but I'm assuming, some bad intentions here, that they don't want the widower to have a relationship, or they're mad maybe that he's redefined the relationship. So, they invite the widower. I guess this is a common one. They invite the widower and his kids over, but they say you can't bring whatever. You can't bring Lisa over because, we don't support the relationship or whatever. So there is a red line that needs to be drawn. And that's where the widower has to go to the in-laws and explain that, there's some behavior here that's not acceptable. If you want to, to continue to see me, or whatever, have a relationship with me, behavior needs to change. And again, you're not asking that people embrace the relationship and accept it and things are hunky-dory, but you're at least asking that people are polite, that, if I come over for dinner and, I have this woman and my kids with me, again, you don't have to necessarily, say this is the most wonderful thing ever, but you at least have to be polite with her, right? You at least have to not say mean things or something like that. We're all adults here. Let's act like adults, kind of thing. And by the way, if the widower, if the in-laws have done something that have hurt you, it is your responsibility to tell the widower. Because sometimes, I'll be honest, the widower doesn't know. For example, in my life, I know Julie had a hard time going over to my parents. I know this isn't the in-laws, but illustrating the point here, that she had a hard time going to my parents' house because there was photos of me and Krista up on their walls, but there wasn't any photos of me and her. So, but I was kind of oblivious to that. You think I would have not been, but I was oblivious to what was going on. So if Julia to say, hey, this is an issue, so I addressed it with my parents. But it's the same idea that if someone, if the in-laws are doing something intentionally to hurt you or saying rude things about you, you need to let the widower be aware of that. Just hiding it and worrying about it is not going to solve the problem. You need to make him aware of it, and hopefully, what the widower should do then is be able to address that issue one-on-one or with the parties involved. And again, it's the conversation of, look, I understand you may, whatever, you're upset that so and so died or whatever the context of it is, but if you want to keep seeing me, have a relationship, you can't be treating my girlfriend this way or my wife this way or whatever the situation is. It's laying out that a red line, just that the behavior is not acceptable, and then it's backing it up. If the behavior doesn't change, then again, it's not going to their house or whatever it is, avoiding those conflicts. So again, every situation is different, every couple's different, but again, there is a red line where, again, I'm not talking just maybe standoffish behavior where it's like, I'm not going to talk to you, but it's really very rude or hurtful behavior. So a lot of balancing acts to go on here, but again, ultimately, the number one person needs to be the person that the widower is dating. And again, part of dating a widower is knowing that he will have, again, assuming it's not a bad relationship or a toxic relationship, but he does have a relationship with the in-laws. It'll be redefined, but you need to be okay with the fact that he's going to have that relationship with them. Again, if you have, share your own stories of late wife family horror stories or good stories. You can share them down in the comments below. You can always send me an email or schedule a coaching session if you want some one-on-one advice. But again, nothing wrong with having that relationship, but like with any relationship, you need to redefine it because the new love of your life should be number one. I'm Abel Keogh, author of the book Dating a Widower. Like this video, comment below, share it with people, and I will see you next Wednesday.